I'd like to call to order the regular monthly meeting of Joliet Junior College, District 525, Wednesday, January 20th, in the U building. And the Hope, Joan, would you call the roll, please?
Broderick.
Present.
Garcia Guillen.
Present.
Mahalik.
Present.
Morales.
Here.
O'Connell.
Yes.
Washington.
Here.
Wilkinson.
Present.
And Wonderlich.
Here. I'd like to welcome everybody who came in person and virtually. Thank you very much. At this time, how about our student trustee, Ian, would you lead us in Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 1.0.5, public comments. Do we have any public comments other than the one I have in front of me? Anybody calling in
No
for
further
public
comments,
comments?
Mr. Chairman.
I will read this from Xavier Duran. My name is Javier Xavier, I'm not sure. A resident of Joliet, former alumnus of JJC. I am calling on you to censure and remove Vice Chairwoman Maureen Flanagan Broderick on social media. Vice Chairwoman Broderick echoed substantiated reports regarding the insurrection in early January 2021. I am not comfortable with a person who lacks media literacy skills and does not respect the democratic process in a positive power. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Business reports. GEDC tax abatement.
I'd like to invite Jeff Heap, our controller, Jeff's out there and he's going to provide an update on the GEDC tax abatement. Jeff?
Good evening. In your packet should be this information I'll cover real quickly here. Back in on November 2nd of 2020, the Grundy Economic Development Council held a meeting for all the affected taxing bodies. There's quite a few just because where this is located, on a proposed 300 megawatt solar farm that would encompass a little over 2,600 acres along Interstate 55, kind of in between the villages of Gardner and the village of Joliet. The estimated value or investment in this project is approximately $318 million, and the taxable value for everybody, for the taxing bodies, would be approximately $24.7 million. Under the Illinois tax code, there's a formula that bases the value at $218,000 per megawatt produced, adjusted for inflation since 2018. Once a project is completed, then it depreciates 4% a year till it hits a maximum depreciation of 70%. And then it kind of basically sits at that dollar value and just kind of adjusts by inflation afterwards. Project is not heavy on personnel or staffing needs, only estimated to be 4 full-time positions to maintain the project. The initial request from Blue Sky was a 75% abatement for each of the 3, or for each year for a total of 3 years. The estimated value of that abatement would have hit the max allowed under state law of $4 million. In discussions with the taxing bodies, everybody wasn't too keen on that size of an abatement. And the group decided to let the superintendents for Dwight Grade School and High School, and then Gardner Grade School and Gardner South Wilmington High School kind of meet a little bit more with a developer and understand the project and get more of a sense of maybe where they felt comfortable with the abatement. After they had a couple of meetings, they held they got the taxing bodies back together in the middle of December. And we had a discussion in the proposal, and what the consensus was among the group was to offer a 2-year abatement of 80% the first year, 20% the second year, with a not to exceed $2 million mark in total. That abatement was, or that proposal was presented to Blue Sky, and they accepted it on December 18th, pending all the applicable taxing bodies, boards approve it. Decision whether to build the project or not is expected to come at the end of 2021. And if they decide to build it, they're estimating they'd start construction kind of in the middle of 22. Included in the list is all, at that point when I prepared this, everybody's planned approval dates. Have not heard with a couple of them that have already had their meetings if they approved it or not. There's quite a few that were on the agenda, for last night, tonight. I'll get that updated, kind of for the February board where it would be asked to be voted upon. To know where everybody else is. The third sheet that I put together is just kind of a summary of, what the current taxes are off the property. And it's basically all farmland is my understanding. And then what it would look like for each of the taxing bodies with the abatement and then after the abatement ends. Currently, the college receives a little over $4,200 from that property. If the project's built even with the 80% abatement, the college is estimated to receive a little over $14,000. The second year with only the 20% abatement, revenue would go up, estimated a little over $56,000. And then after the abatement was over, approximately $69,000 in revenue. And with depreciation in there, that dollar amount would estimate to trickle down a couple percent a year. And I guess at that point, I'll ask if there's any questions or any other information the board would like me to obtain concerning this proposed project.
Jeff,
Yes.
just out of curiosity, I see all the difference of the percentages and everything in the taxing districts. How, and just explain, because I'm misunderstanding what I'm seeing too. How did we just get 3 and I see the high school 21, elementary with 20? Just to clarify, because I'm a little confused on that.
Usually you're used to seeing the school districts have between the high school and grade school 60, 70%. This project, it is so large of a square footage, 2,600 square acres.
Right.
Some of the solar farms in Dwight High School and some of it's in Gardner South Wilmington. So the project it's not quite 50-50 in the school districts. I don't even know if I have that specific, it's 40-60. And that was an estimate, at the initial layout that may change a little bit. It just depends on where they put the panels when they go, if the project moves ahead and where they install them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you see the school districts, in that 20% range instead of in that 40. It's almost like you got to add them together.
Okay. So that's why we fall into the 3% versus a 21 or 20% or 17 double digit numbers, right?
Yeah.
We have less that they're putting on us.
No, the whole project would be in our district, but on an average, the college only represents about 3% of the tax bill.
Oh, okay.
And it depends where you're at, if it's 2.5 or if it's 3.5. It just depends on the other taxing bodies, how their rates are and how it plays out.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for Jeff? Thank you. Next item, 1.1.2, Climate Job Support President.
This evening, we have Dr. Kent Bug joining us. He's the superintendent of Cole City School District 1. Dr. Bug, are you on?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can.
Fantastic. Thank you. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to join you tonight. Jeff had spoken with me, and we've been in contact via a common organization, which you're probably familiar with, called Faircom, where Faircom is an organization that represents taxing districts with large energy utilities within their boundaries. The role of Faircom, we are the Fair Assessment Information Resource Committee, and we work very hard to make sure and protect the tax base that is within those taxing districts. As you're, I know, aware, Exelon has announced the upcoming closure of the Dresden station and the Byron stations. Faircom has been heavily involved in working to, number one, try to keep these plants open. I am the superintendent of Coal City School District, and the Dresden station is within our school district, and also JJC is one of the taxing districts as well. We currently have a tax agreement that Jeff Heap helped us with, that we currently have an agreement with the Dresden station through levy year 2021. And right now, the total tax bill that Dresden pays is $24,244,285 to 7 different taxing districts. One of those taxing districts is JJC. JJC receives about $1.6 million from the Dresden station. The school district receives about $16 million. And then also Grundy County, Coal City Fire, Coal City Library, Goose Lake Road, and Goose Lake Township receive funding from that as well. So obviously we are very, very concerned about the potential closure of the Dresden station. One of the positive things that has happened over the past few months is a group called Climate Jobs Illinois has become a vocal advocate for keeping the nuclear stations open. Climate Jobs Illinois consists of, it's an organized labor group. There's a lot of different organized labor organizations, electricians union, laborers, bridge builders, operators, AFL-CIOs heavily involved, the Illinois Education Association, the Illinois Federation of Teachers. You can go on their website and see they have a large group of supporters that are supporting their efforts. What they are looking to do is assist Illinois with their goal to reach 100% clean energy economy by 2050. And they've got 10 different pillars that they are focused on for potential legislation in the spring session. And one of those specifically is to keep the nuclear stations open. Byron and Dresden and Exelon has also announced that Braidwood and LaSalle are at risk of early closure. And so one of their legislative agenda items is to keep those plants open. They're also promoting solar power, wind power, which also helps the tax base and creates jobs. What Faircom has asked our member districts is to write a letter of support saying that they're in support of the Climate Jobs Illinois initiative, especially the initiative to keep the nuclear stations open. There's a form letter that I've shared with Jeff, and that is something that we are asking the Faircom member districts to support. We hope to see legislation from Climate Jobs Illinois very, very soon. We are really hopeful that we can get something to move in the spring session. Since Climate Jobs Illinois got involved, we feel a lot more positive energy coming out of Springfield for some potential legislation that could keep these plants open. And as I've said many times, yes, the tax base is important, but the Dresden station also employs about 800 people and accounts for a significant portion of the GDP of the entire county of Grundy County. So we would appreciate JJC's support in this effort. And if there's any questions that I can answer, I would be happy to do that. I believe Jeff shared some information with all of you about Climate Jobs Illinois.
Any questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I appreciate all of you considering this. I think it's very, very important.
So Chairman Wonderlich, can I ask then, would I receive the board support to sign on to this letter? You received the information in your packet?
Does anybody have an objection to it?
To which one? I can't hear you, Judy.
To the letter Jeff sent in your packet about the climate, the jobs now, and as long as you're okay, I just want to be sure, and then I can sign that, and we can send that on behalf of the institution.
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with it
All right,
too.
thank
So,
you.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Bug.
Thank you.
Thank you,
thanks,
Jeff.
Dr. Bug.
Thank you so much. Having JJC on board is huge for us, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next item was 1.2, moment of silence for the following individuals. Richard Tex Rivera, Assistant Director, Facility Services Department, Roads and Grounds, longtime JJC employee. Juan Jose Aguilar, father of Juan Aguilar, Technical Department. Bill Prue, husband of Dr. Gina Prue, former college president. John Adams, father of Terry Adams, Fine Arts. Janet K. Pressler, mother of Teresa Carrillo, English, Philosophy, and World Language Departments. Thank you very much. Next item, 1.3, proclamation recognizing Senator Pat McGuire. And I think I see Senator McGuire up on the screen there. And for some reason, I think I have to read this one myself, Pat. Joliet Junior College resolution, whereas Joliet Junior College gratefully acknowledges Senator Pat McGuire for his substantial contributions to the advancement of our community upon his retirement from the Illinois State Senate serving the 43rd District. And whereas Senator McGuire, through his 9 years as state senator, has thoughtfully and steadfastly supported the needs of the 43rd District through significant growth and transformation. And whereas Senator McGuire served as chairperson of the Senate Higher Education Committee, advocating for monetary award programming, MAP grants, to support access to education for all students, state funding support for community colleges, and most notably, secured funding for the JJC City Center campus. And whereas Senator McGuire's dedication to education extended to serve as a school board member, as well as a loyal employee of the Joliet Junior College English Department from 1997 until 2006. And whereas Senator McGuire has also invested his keen intellect, this darn thing keeps on pulling off my ear. Whereas Senator McGuire has also invested his keen intellect, expertise, and leadership in his roles as Will County Treasurer and Braidwood City Clerk. And whereas Senator McGuire, enduring and selfless commitment to the people of Joliet, Will County, and the state of Illinois leaves an indelible mark on our collective history. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Illinois Community College, District number 525, Joliet Junior College, counties of Will, Grundy, Kendall, LaSalle, Kankakee, Livingston, and Cook, state of Illinois, does hereby recognize and honor Senator Pat McGuire on his years of service to the state of Illinois and for his enduring commitment to the people of our district. Adopted this 20th day of January, 2021.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in
We're going to
favor?
miss you. ICCTA is going to miss you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Pat, if you want to say something, but I've got a question for you first.
Of course. What's your question, Bob, our chairman?
When we were in kindergarten, and the teacher asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you think he would have said a politician?
No, I wanted to be in Led Zeppelin.
I don't think it was around back then.
Chairman, trustees, administrators, faculty, staff members, guests, thank you very much for this recognition. This is very kind of you. I've been blessed to know JJC in 4 ways. As a student, during 3 different decades, I took classes off and on through the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And of course, as a faculty spouse, and Laura's here next to me.
Hello.
For 29 of the 43 years we've been married, Laura, of course, was an illustrious member of your nursing department. And also as an employee, as you noted, Chairman, and most recently as state senator. And I want to share with you a memory of then Governor Pat Quinn's visit to the city center campus. It was October 11th of 2012. I had been a state senator for only 8 months. The shell of the building was up. We were standing on pea gravel, as some of you will remember, on the ground floor. And I got really revved up introducing Pat, and it must have rubbed off on him, because in his remarks, he announced that he was releasing twice the amount of money we were told he was going to release. That was a nice surprise. But then what was not a very nice surprise is how many years and what great effort it took to get the state to release all of the money that it had promised JJC for the completion of City Center. And I learned a lesson in persistence. And my teachers were Judy Mitchell and your lobbyists in Springfield, Julie Curry and Brent Hassard. And I trust that you have gotten all of the money. Is that right, President Mitchell?
That is correct. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, so I don't have to ask Senator John Connor to put that on his to-do list. So again, it's been a pleasure to serve JJC. JJC has been an important and enriching part of my and Laura's lives for 50 years now. So thank you for your service. Thank you for your recognition, and thank you for all that you've taught me.
Thank you, Senator.
I'll see you at the next Led Zeppelin concert, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, proclamation designating February as African American History Month.
Okay. Good evening. I would like to invite Frimpong Butang to speak tonight, to read the proclamation. Frimpong enrolled at JJC in 2019. He's the current president of the JJC chapter of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. He also serves as a peer tutor with the TLC and a peer mentor with OMSA. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Judy Mitchell, and thank you to all of you for having me here to read this proclamation. So, African American History Month 2021. Whereas the contributions of the citizens of the African American ancestry to the history and culture of the United States are invaluable and abundant, and whereas these contributions deserve recognition, and whereas citizens of the African American ancestry comprise a significant percentage of the residents of Illinois Community College District Number 525, and whereas it is the goal of Joliet Junior College to provide its students with a comprehensive curricular and co-curricular educational experience, with consideration given to the contributions of all socially identifiable groups within American history and culture. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Illinois Community College District Number 525, Joliet Junior College, counties of Will, Grundy, Kendall, LaSalle, Kankakee, Livingston, and Cook, State of Illinois, hereby proclaims the month of February as African American History Month in Illinois Community College Number 525, adopted this 20th day of January 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Next is proclamation designating February as Career and Technical Education Month.
I would like to ask Dr. Amy Gray to read this proclamation this evening. Hello, Dr. Gray.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Good evening, Board of Trustees and guests, and thank you for allowing me to read the CTE proclamation. Whereas February 1st to the 28th of 2021 has been designated Career and Technical Education Month by the Association for Career and Technical Education, and whereas Career and Technical Education offers students the opportunity to gain the academic, technical, and employability skills necessary for career readiness. Whereas the ever-increasing cooperative efforts of career and technical educators in partnership with business and industry stimulate the growth of our regional economy and nation by preparing graduates for fields forecast to experience the largest and fastest growth, resulting in gainful employment and productive career paths for skilled professionals over the next decade and beyond. And whereas career and technical education provides students with dual credit opportunities and career development through comprehensive programs of study that promote educational success. And whereas career and technical education at JJC affords individuals with opportunities to learn new skills across more than 50 programs. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Joliet Junior College Board of Trustees proclaims the month of February 2021 as Career and Technical Education Month in Illinois Community College District 525, adopted this 20th day of January 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Joan, call the roll, please.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
Yes.
Mahalik,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Aye.
and Wonderlich.
Yes. Next item, 1.4.3, recognition of retiree Lawrence Kubins.
Jim, do you know if he's on?
Whereas Lawrence Cubbins has been a loyal and dedicated employee of Joliet Junior College from March 2004 to March 2020 for 16 years of service and as an adjunct instructor in the math department. And whereas throughout his years of service, Lawrence Cubbins has demonstrated admirable support for the ideals of education as well as for the institution of Joliet Junior College and the people whom the college serves. Whereas the service performed throughout his years at Joliet Junior College has always been of the highest standard of professionalism, quality, and excellence. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Illinois Community College District Number 525, Joliet Junior College, counties of Will, Grundy, Kendall, LaSalle, Kankakee, Livingston, and Cook, State of Illinois, does hereby recognize and commend Lawrence Cubbins for his distinguished service as well as for his diligence, perseverance, and loyalty in executing those duties as herein stated. Adopted this 20th day of January 2021.
So moved.
Thank you so much.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Joan, call the roll, please.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
Yes.
Mahalik,
Yes.
Morales, O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Aye.
Wonderlich.
Yes. Next item, 1.4.4, recognition of retiree Carter Wright.
Jim, do you see Carter? A little note, when I started at the college 24 years ago, I met Carter. He was an adjunct instructor in CIOS, so known him for a long time.
Am I okay to read? Whereas Carter Wright has been a loyal and dedicated employee of Joliet Junior College from January 1996 to December 2020 for over 24 years of service as an adjunct instructor in the business department. And whereas throughout his years of service, Carter Wright has demonstrated admirable support for the ideals of education as well as for the institution of Joliet Junior College and the people whom the college serves. Whereas the service performed throughout his years at Joliet Junior College has always been of the highest standard of professionalism, quality, and excellence. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Illinois Community College District Number 525, Joliet Junior College, counties of Will, Grundy, Kendall, LaSalle, Kankakee, Livingston, Cook, State of Illinois, does hereby recognize and commend Carter Wright, for his distinguished service as well as for his diligence, perseverance, and loyalty in executing those duties as herein stated, adopted this 20th day of January 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Joan, call the roll, please.
Morales?
Yes.
O'Connell?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Wilkinson?
Aye.
Broderick?
Aye.
Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Mahalik?
Yes.
And Wonderlich.
Yes. Next item is 1.4.5, Dr. Marsh Sink, Faculty Union Report.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay through the mask?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll leave it on if you can hear me, as long as my glasses don't steam up, which is very
I
likely to
have a hard
happen.
time hearing him because of my hearing.
What's that?
I have hearing aids, so I have a hard time hearing you. I'm
Want me to take
sorry.
the mask off to speak?
You're fine. I mean, you're distanced.
Okay, I'll do this.
Thank you.
Surely. First, I ask for your indulgence this evening. I'm going to speak a little longer than normal. Many of you know I've been doing this a long time. It's my 14th year. Entering my 15th year as president, 18th year on the board itself. And I've been addressing the board really for this is beginning my 15th year. I might struggle a little bit at some point this evening with emotions because I tend to be an emotional person, but I'll take a deep breath and I'll move on. Before I get into the meat of my comments, I definitely want to note that I have great respect for this board. I've worked with you for many, many years with the executive board. And I know how you've operated over the years, and I know how difficult this job is. I have particularly have tremendous respect for Chairman Wunderlich, who I've known for a long time. His willingness to always seek the right solutions for the college and the community. In his more than 4 decades of service to the college, he's always been a voice of reason on this board, and I appreciate that. I've always been frank with this board in my comments. I've generally opted to coax, nudge, inform. That's why I'm reading my comments tonight rather than doing them all extemporaneously. But tonight, as the representative of the full-time faculty, I have to challenge you. First, I have to tell you a story which I really wish I did not. I really wish I did not have to say on the night that we proclaimed February African American Month. Because the story I'm going to tell you sickened me, angered me, saddened me. It's something I could not imagine happening 5 years ago. I learned this when I was speaking to a good friend of mine last week, happens to be an African American woman. She has a couple of sons. And we were discussing basically how we're all dealing with this horrible pandemic, with all the other issues that I won't go into that we've dealt with over the last year, how difficult it's been. And then she told me a story. I shouldn't say a story. She told me about an incident. And every time I rehearsed talking about this, I'd get emotional. Anyway, her son, an alum of JJC, early 20s, was doing his job one day. Part of his job was doing cold calls as a salesperson. And anybody who's ever tried that, you know, and I'm talking about physical cold calls, walking into businesses. Incredibly difficult job. I could never do it. So he walks into this business at a town within 90 minutes of here. And as he's walking, towards the front of the store. He lets people know he's looking for the owner because he has, some product to sell. Before he could get to the, just give me a sec. Before he could get to the front of the store, a man stood up, yelled at him, called him an N-word, told him to get the hell out of his business, and chased him to the street. All right? This is a student of ours. This is the son of somebody I know, one of the sweetest, gentlest souls you'll ever meet. So now, if that had happened to me, I would have gotten out of there, got to my car, and driven out of that town. But he didn't. He had a job to do. He continued to do his job. He walked down the street to another business, walked in, didn't make a sale. There was no incident or anything like that. But as he walked out of the building, on the street was the owner of the previous business, along with several other people. The only thing we could call it is a mob. They started screaming racial epithets at him, started throwing things at him, chased him down the street till he got into his car and left. Now, put yourself in that mother's shoes, put in his shoes, but in that mother's shoes. Every day she has to deal with her son going out into a world where that might happen to. So this wasn't in some backwater town in Mississippi in 1947. This was 90 miles from here or less. I won't name the town because I don't want to besmirch the entire town because of these racists who did this. This was 2020 in Illinois. Now, it wasn't in our district either. Okay. Now, we know these people are out there. They're always out there. They've always been out there. But what could radicalize people to the point where they would attack a young man simply because of the color of his skin? And believe, this was the worst part about it in some ways, believe they could do it with impunity in broad daylight on Main Street. Okay. I believe the answer to that is rather simple. Over the past several years, we've had particularly, and do not misinterpret what I'm saying here. I'm saying fringe right media and the underbelly of social media has spread misinformation for years, and this is the result. I'm not talking about legitimate conservative media. I'm talking about the fringes. And if we didn't know before, we know now. And we found out in the last couple of weeks, words matter. They have consequence. We don't spew hatred in a vacuum. On top of this, after learning about that, not long, really within days of learning about that, I also found out that we have some of our own students of color who are concerned about returning to campus. Now, it's not about JJC, but after watching the attack on our Capitol and democracy 2 weeks ago, many of them simply don't know what to expect when they enter public places. It's the environment we're now living in. Now, as much as many of us want to feel optimistic about the future with a new administration in place, and I'm one of those people, I feel that, we can start moving in the right direction. We cannot expect Washington to solve this problem with new laws, okay? We need to act. We need to call out the lies, the misinformation, the radical behavior when we see it. This is a local problem. We need to let our neighbors know that this divisive, inflammatory language is not acceptable. We need to let them know that open expressions of hatred are not acceptable in a civil society. After the attacks on the Capitol 2 weeks ago, Trustee Broderick posted on Facebook Couple of posts. One of them I'll read verbatim. And turmoil to hit on 1/20/21. Be prepared, you Biden supporters. That's today. That reads like a threat to me. Then we have another post that repeated a fringe right claim that the agitators were members of Black Lives Matter and Antifa. A claim even top Republicans in Congress who have done everything they could to support our former president have debunked. So I'm calling on his board to do the tough thing, not the safe thing. It's not good enough to just distance the board from these remarks. And frankly, it's not good enough just to say we can't do anything. I'm asking you to denounce these remarks. I'm not asking you to denounce a colleague. I don't know what is in Trustee Broderick's heart, or even whether she fully understood the potential ramifications of her comments when she wrote them, or what state of mind she was in when she wrote them. Frankly, I don't know. I don't care. But at minimum, they were irresponsible. At worst, dangerous. I believe this board must denounce the language and the irresponsible use of that language, because words matter. Right now, your words matter. I will now read a short, prepared remarks that represent full-time faculty union council position, along with, and we are joined in this by Bill Briggs, President of the AFT Local 604, which represents the vast majority of Northern Illinois, and the local's executive board, of which I am a member. As faculty at a community-based institution that prides itself on its diversity and inclusion, we feel compelled to respond to recent Facebook comments made by one member of our Board of Trustees, Maureen Broderick. Excuse me. While our membership has a wide range of political views, we cannot stand by when a board member writes incendiary posts on Facebook and uses her platform to spread misinformation about the terrible attack on our Capitol on January 6th. We call upon the Board of Trustees to denounce Trustee Broderick's inflammatory language directed at Biden supporters and her repetition of thoroughly debunked conspiracy theories regarding Black Lives Matter and Antifa participation in that attack. I know there are a lot of different political views represented in this room. That's healthy. We need to have healthy discourse. We need to even argue with each other sometimes. We have a lot of different political views on my own union. But I hope that one thing we can all agree on going forward, that any speech by a public official, by a member of this board, that inflames and potentially incites must be called out. It has no place in a civil society. And it should not only happen here, it should happen in city councils, it should happen in county boards, it should happen in school boards. Across this state and across this nation, we need to call it out for what it is. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, as always, that you give me to address you.
Thank you, Dr. Marsink.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marsink.
Thank you.
Next item was 1.4.6 adjunct. Laurel, is she?
I believe she asked to attend.
Oh, there she
so
is.
She should, oh, there she
She's
is.
up there.
Hello,
Oh,
thank you, and good evening. So over the last several months, I have submitted written reports or no reports at all. I understand how complicated it is to have virtual meetings, and I've been trying to keep things simple. But the events of the last couple weeks have brought me here tonight. On January 6th, I watched and was deeply disturbed, as all of us were, by the events and the violence at the Capitol. This morning, I watched as a new president was sworn into office on those same Capitol steps. We have deep division within our communities, as was just discussed. But also in the last few days, I've started communicating with some of my students as we start the new semester. And I couldn't help but be encouraged by their enthusiasm and their optimism for this new start. So in this context, I decided that it was important for all of us to reaffirm our values and our commitments to our students, our colleagues, and our communities. This is a public institution of higher education. We need to be clear to everyone that we are all working with a common purpose. When students come to us, they have to know that they will be consistently welcome and supported in the pursuit of their goals. To do any less would be a violation of our trust as public educators. Sorry. I understand that adjuncts are only one part of the picture, but I think it's important for all of us to take a position and say that we are fully committed to providing the best education we can for all of the members of our diverse student body. And so with that, I thank you for the opportunity to talk with you tonight, and good evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Laurel. Next item was 1.5.1, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of December 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Joan, call the roll, please.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
Yes.
Mahalik,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Aye.
and Wonderlich.
Yes. Trustee Washington brought it to my attention the other day that there was a discrepancy in the minutes, but it wasn't the minutes of our regular meeting. It was the minutes of our electoral board meeting, which we did not approve tonight. But if it comes time when we approve those, Betty, we'll make sure that your concerns are fixed.
Thank you.
Okay. At this time, we'd like to go into executive session for the following 2C1, 2C5, and 2C11. Have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Joan, call the roll, please.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
Yes.
Mahalik,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Aye.
Wonderlich.
Yes. We had a motion and a second to return to public session. Do we have a roll call on that?
We did a roll call, but perhaps we should do another roll call to make sure that everybody has reconnected.
Okay.
I'll just do it alphabetically if that's okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
Yes.
Mahalik,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington, Wilkinson,
Aye.
and Wonderlich.
Yes. Item 1.6, communications. Any further communications, Ms. Tierney?
No further communications, Mr. Chairman.
Item 1.7, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Discussion. Joan, call the roll, please.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
Yes.
Mahalik,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington, Wilkinson,
Aye.
and Wonderlich.
Yes. Item 1.8.1, approval of consent agenda is presented. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Joan, call the roll, please.
O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington, Wilkinson,
Aye.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
At this time, I would like to pull an item. Do I do it now or in a little bit?
Right now.
Okay. 4.5, please.
Which, I'm sorry,
4.5.
4.5.
4. Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just so that we're clear, it'll be, the people that have voted subject to the polling of 4.5. So the other consent agenda items will be approved, and 4.5 will be called separately. I know you started in the roll call.
So is the roll call finished?
No.
No.
Keep going.
Okay, so trustee Broderick, trustee O'Connell, and student trustee Wilkinson, you are in agreement with pulling agenda item 4.5, correct?
Yeah, that's,
Don't we have to do a correction to the motion so that we can
You can go
restart?
kind of both ways on it. What I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, just so that we're clear, is the motion would be a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 4.5 being pulled, and why don't you redo the roll call so the record is clear?
yes.
Okay. All right, O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington, Wilkinson,
Yes.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
Yes.
Mahalik,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
and Wonderlich.
Yes. Okay, item 4.5, can I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, for 4.5, the only thing that I had a question on was if the president can provide a little bit more information about what are the requirements for students to qualify for the JJC tuition waiver scholarship.
Related to dual credit? Is this tied to the fees they pay for dual credit?
Correct. This is the Board of Trustees approval of dual credit fees, and it's part of the information in the packet that students are able to qualify for the JJC tuition waiver scholarship. Just wanted to get a little bit more information about the scholarship.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm going to defer to Dr. Gray, who pulled together the report from her division. It falls under academic affairs, and it will be great for her to respond to you and then address any other questions you might have. Dr. Gray?
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Yes, the scholarship is for students who take dual credit courses and matriculate to JJC. And so any of the fees that they've paid for their dual credit classes go toward their tuition at JJC.
Any other requirements other than the ones that you just mentioned?
Nope, they just have to matriculate to our institution.
Okay.
Dr. Gray, that's how it was when we
Thank
set
you.
it up originally, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So there was a motion and a second discussion. Joan, call a roll, please, on 4.5.
Morales,
Yes.
O'Connell,
Yes.
Washington, Wilkinson,
Aye.
Broderick,
Aye.
Garcia Guillen,
Yes.
Mahalik,
Yes.
and Wonderlich.
Yes. Item 5, student development, there's no action required. Item 6.1, follow-up on language interpretation options.
So I'd like to come back to the board. This has been a topic of discussion for the past couple of months. And at the last meeting, I had tasked Kelly Roder-Tonelli and Jim Sir to continue to evaluate and investigate the options for both signing at our meetings and then the translation of our transcription following the meetings. So I want to, thank both of them for their work. First, I want to address that, one of the questions that came out is, was how many languages should we be, converting, and what does that demand look like within our county and within our district? And so the recent source from the American Community Survey of 5-year estimates within Will County, we are at, and within Will County, and then the CMAP region. So within Will County, English is 79.9%. In our CMAP region, we're at 68.7%. The next highest is Spanish speaking at 12.3%, and then 18.4% in the CMAP region. After that, we fall down to Slavic languages at 1.5% and Chinese 0.5%, and it continues to go down. My thought is, and my recommendation for you this evening would be to, we looked at that survey data. We would like to move forward with the translation of the minutes for the board meetings. So now, we've already converted the agendas and they are posted, and we've even expanded where we post on social media outlets to, again, increase the engagement of the community. So if there's an English version and a Spanish version. The recommendation and consideration to move forward for the translation of the minutes. We know that the Microsoft Teams site does not have that capability for the translation, and it wouldn't be accurate. So what we did is we went back and looked at our potential JJC staff members that we could pay for translation with an approximate $16 per hour for doing this work above and beyond their normal duty. There's also, we could look at hiring a full-time employee that would be utilized across the campus to convert and convert all of the English documents into Spanish or any other requests as needed. And they would be actually an employee that would help. They could help communications marketing. They can help our DEI group. They can help HR. It could be a cross-functional position. So my recommendation, and obviously I'll listen to the board, but my recommendation for this first year is to go forward and pay a JJC employee to translate the minutes, and they would be posted on our website in both English and Spanish, and then assess and track to see if we have an increase in requests as far as, what type of, that their access is available, that the information is satisfies the request of the community, and we try that. If we if we see a continued growth and expansion, then next year when we have a more stable budget, we can look at converting and maybe possibly hiring a full-time person that would come in, and then, a good portion of their job duties would be a translator for the college. That's one recommendation. The second one that I need to your direction on is the ASL for the sign interpreter at Joliet Junior College. I know there was a request that we just hire a student. Well, some of the concerns that fall into place is if they're not certified and we're not sure exactly what they're signing to the, to the public and the community, there would be, who would be the one that would watch them or have that expertise or experience to know that. So to hire and to utilize our ASL interpreters that we currently use at JJC, you see them at many of our events, we pay them $40 an hour. If over 2 hours, say an average meeting is 2 hours, give or take, and then looking at the number of meetings, so we have 11 meetings plus 3 workshops, the translation of both of those, we're looking at possibly anywhere between $2,400. I would say on the high note, just in case we have a long board meeting, $3,000 per year to bring a signer to the campus, to the board meetings. I'm not sure if we want to start that in the COVID environment, if we want to wait until the board comes back in full. But those are the 2 areas in addition to the agenda, paying an internal employee to convert the minutes into Spanish. We post them, and then the sign language interpreter. So I need to gather your input.
As far as paying somebody, a student, it's a good start. It's a good start.
For the translation of the minutes?
Yes.
Oh, that's an employee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as far as a signer, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it's going to be kind of hard with virtual people up there, and it's for right now. I think maybe we should just hold off on that for a bit
until we go back in person.
Yeah, and then I do have a question about the travel time, because most of the ASRs want travel time too. Is that included or not included, or are you just doing?
What I have is that these are the rates that we pay our current signers.
Does it have travel time?
The college employs 8 ESL certified individuals to support the needs of the college. The certification is recommended as it establishes baseline standards for this work. We also have an agreement with a third-party vendor, if needed, CARES, which is typically used if our resources are overwhelmed. So again, our recommendation would be to use our current services at the rate of $40 per hour. I do not believe, and if I have to be corrected, I will let you know that we are paying them for travel time. And it would be for the 11 board meetings and 3 workshops per year. But if we, and then one of the other areas that we have to watch, if a meeting goes over 2 hours, then we have to hire 2 interpreters because they need a break. So that's why my recommendation would be that if you would like to move forward, that we wait until we're in person.
Well, I go with Bob. I would recommend doing the translation for the minutes at this point.
This is Trustee Garcia. So thank you so much for getting the research. Yeah, so the first, going back to the first part that you mentioned, having someone that we hire so that way they can help with the communication and the marketing to translate it into Spanish, that would be great. As well as making sure that the agenda and all the materials that we're posting on social media is available in a different language for the community. But I still think that the translation of the board meeting is a great idea. However, we still need to be able to budget into having an interpreter at our meetings, even if it's virtually, so that way community members can hear the same information that we are sharing with the English speaking community members. Going to the second one about the American Sign Language, there is a way that we can do this virtually. There is different options. We just need to explore them in a greater detail. It could be having the interpreter be somewhere where the camera is still visible, but it's still having enough distance between other people. And again, making sure that we are providing all the resources that we have available so that we community members are able to engage and understand the material and be able to participate to a greater level within the community college and the community. Yeah, so I definitely think that we can do more than the proposal that you're providing at this time.
Okay.
I agree. I concur with Trustee Garcia. If we are intentional about diversity and inclusion, the key word is intentional. And when people don't understand, and you look at like District 86 elementary schools, which is a feeder into Joliet Township High Schools, and that's one of the biggest feeder high schools into JJC District. I think it's like 80% Spanish, bilingual. In Spanish, the student population is definitely changing in Joliet and Will County and heading that way. And I think engaging parents is going to definitely help to increase our enrollment. And it's an investment again. It's not an expense, it's an investment in our community. So I support us looking for these monies to pay for an interpreter to be able to translate the meetings real time and have a sign language interpreter present as well.
Okay, so just so I'm clear then, so we would like to investigate and have the ASL signer even at the virtual meetings if that's possible. The translation of the minutes, we will pay our staff and track that for a year, and then we can build this position into either later in fiscal year 22 if funding becomes available, or fiscal year 23, even looking at the demand starting part-time and potentially full-time. The other one, as far as the evaluate real time, I'll continue to work with Jim and his team on, the options. I can tell you that Microsoft Teams, even for the conversion in English, is a little rough. And, we have to work on that, and it takes a lot of work just to correct those minutes, or correct that through Teams. So we can start with the first two and then continue to evaluate the third, and then come back to the board when we're ready with that recommendation.
It's a good start.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, 7.1 through 7.4, first reading of new business. 8.1, second reading board policies. 8.2, third reading of board policies. That was on the consent agenda. Going down, 9.1 reports, JJC Foundation, Nancy and/or Christy Mulvey.
Hello. Yes, this is Trustee Garcia. So the board met today during their closed meeting. So at this time, I do not have a report. Our next full meeting is going to be in March. Last time, I was not able to provide some of the highlights from the last, the Leadership Congress that I attended back in October. Do you want me to provide some of the highlights at this time?
Okay.
Yes.
Christy, have you got anything for us? She's not here anymore.
Shan?
I can tell you that Christy will be presenting at the workshop next Wednesday. So
Okay.
she had shared with me that she would provide a very
good.
detailed report at that time.
Okay. ICCTA rep, Ms. Broderick.
Okay. I'm first going to talk about the ACCT conference that's coming up, the 2021 Virtual Community College National Legislative Summit, which is February 8th to 10th. If 4 to 6 of us attend, it's $269 per person. 7 to 10 is $254, but if we're under 4 people, it's $299. And right now, I currently understand that Dr. Mitchell, Kelly Roeder Tonelli, and I are the only ones signed up. But if you'd like to be a participant, it's a virtual that Joan can sign you up. Also, this coming Friday, there is a virtual, it's tips for successful virtual meetings with our federal policymakers. And that's something that we are going to be doing with the virtual legislative summit. We are going to be arranging our legislative meetings with our senators via virtual. And then on Thursday, February 4th, we are also having a review of timely policy priorities for community colleges. And this is free again. It's on February 4th at 1 p.m. The other one for tips for successful virtual meetings is Friday at 2 p.m. this Friday. If you're interested in attending, please email me and I'll give you the connection so you can register, and it's free. We also had the ACCT Central Region Coordinators meeting with Illinois, Iowa, and Michigan and Wisconsin. The issues brought up were now lobbying efforts. Guiding through the pandemic still is, of course, high priority. Technology challenges associated with all of the pandemic of what we have to do because we're still in pandemic. What will the college receive from the state and federal funding after the new administration is put in? Who will the new Secretary of Education be? And then more concern as the rollout of the vaccine. Some colleges are going to be doing more for the rollout of the vaccine so that more are inoculated with the vaccine. So that's something that I know is becoming hot topic. Then as far as the ICCTA, the big issue was right now the Illinois Board of Higher Education has asked for a $1.2 billion budget request. It's a 4.5% increase from last year, where there is we have a huge multi-billion-dollar budget gap. These funds specifically are for general funds, excluding any retirement system. This is once again all due to the pandemic. They mentioned enrollment is up slightly by 0.2% overall statewide. $50 million for the Monetary Award Program, the MAP, was included in the budget. State reps are skeptical about increasing funding due to the pandemic. The budget is headed to the General Assembly and then on to the governor. And I did want to note that they don't oppose budgeting and investing in higher education. It's more for where the money and the revenue resources are going to come for that concerns them. So I thought I'd bring this up because we had our ICCTA meeting this past weekend, and those were concerns that were issued around the board. And then based on, I know that Dr. Mitchell has some information from what she's, heard from her end of it too, that she can input. And then I know that last month, I gave you the report for the October virtual meeting, and so has Dr. Mitchell. And I don't know if either Trustee Morales or Trustee Gillian, because we have to report, since we were in attendance, we have to do a report on what we did and what we felt that we accomplished at it. I don't know if you two ladies have the ability to do that tonight or not, or would like to wait until the next meeting, but we do need to get input. It's part of our policy that we have to follow to get input from the trustees that attended. Nancy, how are you with input on it? Trustee Garcia, Guillen?
If I can go briefly, I did not participate, Maureen, so I don't have a report.
You don't have, could you do one next month then?
No, I said I did not participate.
Oh, I thought you had.
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry, I will not have one.
Okay, then no problem with that. I don't know, is Trustee Guillen
She's
still
there.
on?
She's there.
Oh, she's muted. Trustee Guillen, can you hear me?
We'll get a hold of her. Maybe she can do it.
All right, we'll do that. Then I will let Dr. Mitchell share her input from the ICCTA that she too has of updates from what we talked about from last month. Dr. Mitchell, I'll turn it over to you then.
Okay, so so I can talk to them. First of all, I just want to comment on the partnerships with the vaccines. And so Cecil Lucy has worked with Kara Anderson, our EHS manager in the Will County Health Department, to be a site to administer those vaccines when they do become available. So we have been actively engaged with that. So I thank both of them for that. Last month, Trustee Broderick, you did talk about your ICCTA and ACCT report, and I actually have a 10-page report that I'm not going to read to you tonight. I'm going to spare you that, but I'm going to highlight, I'm looking after you, but I'm just going to highlight a couple of those areas, and then I'll send this report to the board so you can see what we're doing. And so some of the, it's all too often we attend these conferences and we hear these ideas, and, for the trustees, sometimes you might not have that information readily available at the college. But some of the things that you talked about with COVID and the CARES Act, I mean, again, so proud of the work that we've continued to do, distributing all of our CARES Act funding to our students, in addition to the tremendous support provided by the JJC Foundation, our scholarships, laptop computers, et cetera. We were very proud. I know some institutions talked about that they had employees that they had to be furloughed or laid off. I'm very proud of the fact that we have not, because of the willingness of our unions to reassign our employees to assist in possible areas of greatest need throughout the college. And then our updates are provided to the Board of Trustees through multiple media outlets, my Monday reports, employee newsletter, email, and communication marketing pieces, and our website. There's information that I'll include regarding the ethics and the acupuncture tests. You'll receive that. You receive information and responses regarding pathway to improve graduation. Our strategic plan and president's priorities, it talked about within the sessions about that. The president, as well as the team and the institution, follows the strategic plan of the college that supports our mission, vision, and our goals. If you recall, Dr. Farmer was charged as our senior most cabinet member to resume and take over the strategic plan process in 2020, 2023 after Dr. Fletcher's departure. So she has been charged with facilitating all the meetings with the committees, and addressing continual improvements as a result of COVID. And we have to remember that our strategic plan must be fluid at all times to address the needs of our campus community. So we have addressed what ACC talked about, the strategic planning and the president's priorities. We also continue to review the goals and the metrics within each of those themes. And I'm very pleased with the dashboards that you'll be seeing soon. Hopefully, one of the upcoming meetings, we'll make sure that you see those dashboards and they'll be posted. Again, with great information that provides that information to all of you, readily accessible, so you have that at your fingertips. There was conversation about the ACCT for the 60 credit hour associate's degree at JJC. So the ICCB encourages colleges to keep associate's degree programs to 60 to 68 credits, with the exception of the AAS degree, which can have up to 72. The range of our total number of credit hours required for completion of an associate's degree shall be within the following parameters. For an associate's degree in arts and associate's degree in science, we look at not less than 60 semester hours in credit and no more than 64. To again keep in mind the students and their financial aid and the amount of hours that they take. For the associate in fine arts and associate in engineering science, again, not less than 60 and no more than 68 credit hours or equivalent. And for the associate in applied science degree, a total requirement of not less than 60 and no more than 72. And then for the associate in general studies, again, not less than 60, no more than 64. So within this letter, you'll see links to the ICCB systems rules from the Illinois Community College Board, which again, I'm very proud of the work Dr. Gray and the academic divisions continue to do to look at all of our curriculum and the course content for our students. You'll find a section where we address crisis management that continues to come up. Again, Cecil and Karen in the emergency response group at the college. We have got a phenomenal team of cross-representation of campus police, human resources, student development, environmental health and safety, purchasing, finance, facility services. All of us continue to meet to evaluate our practices at the college to ensure safe PPE protocols are followed. Our emergency operation plan includes the following: incident command structure, MOUs with partner agencies, campus violence prevention, pharmaceutical distribution plans, pandemic influenza preparedness plan, and behavioral intervention team policies, which again, we've seen an increase in our students and employees in that area. You'll find in this letter accreditation prep that came up from your meeting. The abolishment of remedial education. Dr. Gray provided extensive information about the advantages and disadvantages. There is no intention or plans to abolish remedial education. It has its place, and many students benefit from these courses. Through Developmental Ed, JJC supports both academic and personal growth of underprepared students through instruction, counseling, advising, and tutoring. Even with these services, we continue to look at ways to accomplish goals by creating co-requisite courses, to which ICCB has committed to scaling co-requisite courses statewide, and JJC continues to attend those workshops. So again, great work in that area of DevEd and co-requisite. Board and CEO maximizing relationships. There's a section in there for that. Our outreach to elected officials. Again, Kelly Roder-Tonelli and I work very closely with our legislators, formal meetings set up with state legislators to review the college's agenda, typically occur in August. Kelly and I meet with Liz Brown-Reeves, our lobbyist for the Illinois Council of Community College Presidents. That occurs every Friday during General Assembly. We meet with all of our District 525 legislators. We invite our legislators to main campus for tours, as well as their other facilities. And then we actually engage our student government as well. And there's a section in here on Cengage for the $200 for cost of textbooks. You'll see that we are engaged with Cengage and that we are, helping to reduce the cost of textbooks for our students, as well as the section on guided academic pathways. So that's a brief synopsis of my 10-page report that I will send to you all electronically.
But I think that's good that we as trustees go to the meetings, we take back what we gather from those meetings and bring it to your attention, and we see how good we are doing, because definitely we are the very first community college, and it's good to see that we're a leading college in what we do. So I'm glad that from the ICCTA and the ACCT perspective that Dr. Mitchell, we're doing a good job.
All righty. 9.3 student trustee report. Ian?
Good evening, everyone. I don't have my traditional PowerPoint presentation tonight. I mean, given that we were on break for the past month, but I do have kind of some updates and some data that Ms. Vasquez-Barrios has given me. And in regards to kind of going back to my report in the December meeting about the student form or student response form that I sent out. The big kind of overarching theme of it was just the mental health aspect of it all. Everyone kind of was adapting to this lifestyle, I guess I should say, of being at home, not being able to come to school, but being able to just get up, go to their desk, open up their laptop. Everyone was getting used to that, but they weren't used to not being able to see each other. They weren't used to just staying at home, not having this interaction. And that's where the mental health aspect of everything was really affecting everybody. And not even just that aspect. Of course, we saw at the Capitol several Wednesdays ago. Just once all that kind of unfolded, that's adding to the kind of mental health aspect that's affecting everyone, not just because of COVID, but with this transition of power, whatever side of the aisle you are from, it doesn't really matter. Everybody has their worries for the future of this nation, and that's regardless of where you stand. And that's why I come before you to kind of just talk about the student wellness and the data that was presented to me by Ms. Vasquez-Barrios. And for the student wellness aspect of it all, I was actually pleased to see all this, the good that she showed me, and it was a 91% satisfactory rate from the students. They all felt that they were being heard. They felt that they were comfortable kind of just talking to either that is one-on-one or whether it's like a call or something. Everybody felt that they were being heard, and this is going back to around March of last year, just bringing everything into a closure. And then they're also planning to expand positions from 3 licensed counselors to 4. And that's with their case manager coordinator that has been seeing or is doing the COVID tracer updates that saw about 80% of them were affected by COVID, which is about 245 students. And then what else the Student Wellness is doing is they are doing their monthly newsletters, they're doing their podcasts. So being able to push those out to the students so that they know all this stuff is readily available for them is great. And then on that note, it is going to be pushed out through iCampus. It should be in the course syllabi for all the courses. The professors should be pushing that out. And that's one big thing that I saw in the student response form, is that not a lot of students knew about the Wellness Center and everything that was being provided by the college. And so hopefully that being just up on the board in iCampus, being in the syllabi, that should bring the attention that I hope, and then I hope that you guys want to the students. And there's also a self-assessment tool called MindWise that about 383 students went on and, self-assess themselves, not to diagnose themselves, but to see what kind of attention that they should be getting for whatever it might be bothering them. And the top 3 results for that was anxiety, depression, and stress. And that, it's shocking for that to be happening, but it's, given the scenario that we're all in, it shouldn't be that big of a surprise that everybody's kind of in this mental state of depression because we're not being able to go to our daily lives like we used to, and the anxiety from online schooling, not really knowing what's to come in the next year, next 4 years of this, this new transition of power, and the effects that we saw in the summer months and just leading up to this inauguration today. And then just COVID in general. And we're not too sure of what's going to happen. So that's where I'm not too shocked, but where you see the anxiety, depression, and stress rates are just up across the boards throughout the college. And then for the students that are making an appointment, it's 90% or 95% of the students that made an appointment were seen within a week. So as you can see, like, that is their top priority, making sure that everybody can be kind of moved into whatever they need, they kind of see necessary, making sure everybody is taken care of and that their needs are being met. And that's kind of all I have to speak on today. I just really want to address the mental health aspect of what not just COVID is putting on us, but with our academic lives as well. Just bringing that to you guys and updating you guys on what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. And then also in regards to the student response form, I plan on sending out another one either early February or maybe even mid-February in regards to how the semester is starting off for everyone. Since I sent one out at the end of the fall semester, seeing what we can hopefully change coming into this semester. I want to see if any of those changes have been made, for one, and two, if they're helping, if that's changing any of the scenarios or outcomes that students are having.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Ian, would you like to be included on the virtual when we do the virtual legislative so that you can hear what the senators are saying, so that you can hear what their position on, the higher education is and funding and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure you're included then.
Thank you.
Include me in that one too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Joan, Alicia, and Ian
I'm sorry.
for the virtual, and I'll give you the virtual connection when we're going to be virtually connected with the senators.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
Thank you.
Next item, buildings and grounds. Jake or Dan.
Keep it relatively brief. There is no bids this month. Couple of upcoming projects that are going out for bid. We had the pre-bid meeting for the respiratory therapy project. I think over 1,000 vendors came to it. They had about 30 vendors that placed a bid, I guess, but unfortunately this has been postponed due to some adjustments to the bid. So the final submittals will be done on Friday, the 22nd. Another project that's upcoming is some HVAC work. And these are various projects throughout the college, and this bid is also due on the 22nd. some projects that are completing. The auto shop epoxy flooring was completed, I believe, last month, and now the natural science epoxy flooring will be completed soon as well. And then just a quick update on Workday. The HR unit and I think the finance unit was put out the testing, and now I think they're going to roll it out, and they're rolling out the testing here in January. And then Workday and HR, finance, customer confirmation sessions will continue throughout January as well. It seems like from what I'm talking about it is that the staff is getting very, very comfortable with it, and I mean it's a new system, but they're working through it and they're trying to gain their confidence in it. So, and that's all I have.
Good. Thank you. President's report, Dr. Mitchell.
Okay, so our first meeting for the beginning of the year. Welcome to everyone. Welcome back. I just want to let you know that I know all of our employees enjoyed their winter break. It was a very mentally and physically, emotionally draining year last year, and so we look forward to a positive and healthy new year. I want to kick off real quick with just sharing a couple commercials. We were off over the break, and I was watching my WGN in the morning, and Joliet Junior College commercial came up, and I was so excited. And I want to publicly thank Kelly Roeder-Tonelli, Dr. Mike Hernandez, and their teams for the excellent work on these commercials. So they're just two really quick, because obviously commercial spots are very expensive. But we just want to show you the English and the Spanish version. So I believe, Jim, you should be able to pull those up real quick so I can share those with the board. They were really, really good. Oh, right there. Okay, and the other one?
Awesome. Very good.
Aren't they awesome? I'm telling you, it made my whole break. I had text messages from friends and family and neighbors, and they were just so excited. So again, I want to thank Kelly and her team for just phenomenal work on those commercials. So again, looking forward to the new year. We kicked off general session. Again, reflecting on the last year, building our vision and the direction for the new year. As always in January, we have a focus on our students. This year, again, even though in a virtual environment, I have to tell you, they did a phenomenal job. The focus on the students, they were inspired. They talked about their strengths, their wisdom. They shared their resilience during one of these most difficult years and the unrest in our world. So I'd like to publicly thank Elena Malero, Don Florente, Guadalupe Medina, Louise Guzman, Frimpong Boateng, Chandler Royce, and they were all led by our amazing student trustee, Ian Wilkinson. He just did a phenomenal job, and I'm sure you'll be able to see the link to general session, but I want to thank them. You know, the statements, the comments that were overwhelming from our employees. What an inspirational student panel they all are. Thank you for your hard work and for all you do and for making a difference in so many others' lives while you're a student learning your journey. I'm so proud of these amazing students. Thank you for sharing with us today. awesome job to the student wellness advocates, removing the barrier to those struggling with mental unrest and providing support to our students to be successful in their academic endeavors and feel whole in the process. So I have pages of comments from our employees that were just so moved by our students. So Ian, I would like to thank you and the team, again, coordinated with Kelly Roeder Tonelli. You did a phenomenal job. Thank you for kicking off our year and being that inspiration that we all need. Trustee Broderick, I responded to you for ACCT already.
Right.
One of the other areas that I wanted to follow up with the board is there was a recommendation or consideration for the finance committee for the board. Both Cecil and I talked about that, and we do support a finance committee in hopes that the board will consider bringing that to the newly elected board beginning in April or May, and we would start that process with them. Within the trustee committee definitions, there is a finance committee there. It has never been enacted, but it's something that I would like you to consider because we think that would be advantageous for the administration as well as for the Board of Trustees as well. So that will be something I will send to you electronically. Another item that I wanted to talk with the board, we had talked before the holiday break about fireworks. Chief Campbell and his team met with the fireworks company. They came to the campus on December 22nd, identified a location within the Arboretum. We also reached out to the Natural Areas Committee, Pat Van Dyne and Chief Campbell, and they were supportive as they had 7 in favor, 2 opposed, 5 had not responded, but they said as long as the launching area would be restored to its original condition, they would be supportive as well. So I'm looking to the board. If there aren't any concerns, if we have no concerns, I'll have Chief Campbell and Pat Van Dyne reach back out to the city of Joliet, and we can start sharing that, publicly and with a formal approval that the fireworks will be held here this July.
Good.
Good.
And then a happy birthday to Trustees Morales and Trustee O'Connell, speaking of fireworks, so happy birthday to you.
Your birthday.
And then I would like to just end with my last comment, my final comments. So last week in my semester address to the campus, we reflected on the totality of 2020 and its impact on our community. The fear, the anger, the anxiety, death, and injustice, all feelings we experienced personally and deeply. At the same time, I shared many moments in 2020 that encouraged hope from faculty, staff, and students. In the first few weeks of 2021, we have continued to feel that deep impact of a divided country. I want you to know that as an institution, JJC fosters a climate of mutual respect and inclusion, which includes a strong commitment to diversity and equity for our students, our faculty, staff, and community members. As your college president, I want to state unequivocally that Joliet Junior College does not tolerate violence or injustice. We support respectful dialogue and exchange of ideas. In closing, I'd like to end my report with a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. It's fitting given the national observance of his birth on Monday, and I think we often look to Dr. King in times of confusion and apprehension. The messages of unity, integrity, and hope he shared in his short life were so impactful that they resonate today. Dr. King said in these words in 1964 to a group at Oberlin College, "The time is always right to do what is right." Mm-hmm. We will continue to do what is right for Joliet Junior College and the students we serve. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Chairman's report, I guess that would be me. First off, Happy New Year to everybody, our first meeting. It's the start of a new year, it's the start of a new country with the inauguration of new President Biden. Forgot to say happy birthday yesterday to Kelly Roeder. And that commercial that was on TV, I think we should run that at the Super Bowl when the Packers are in it.
Okay, we'll have to look at our budget, but we could consider that.
And then I've got a little statement here. I'd like to thank everyone who attended this meeting tonight to exercise their right to public comment and to share their views. It has been and always will be important to ensure community members have a reasonable opportunity to express their views to this board. I believe my fellow trustees will agree with me that we take everything shared this evening very seriously. It's important to clarify that trustees of this board are elected officials. The college president does not have an oversight in regards to the actions of the board. Given the comments made this evening, the Board of Trustees, in alignment with the Illinois Community College Board and the Illinois Community College Trustees Association, can address other requests or actions outside of the upcoming April election process. Thank you for your diligence and support of the Joliet Junior College and this commitment to diversity and equity for the college community. With that, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.